Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm with David Cox, the CEO of ARLA PropertyMark top man. Hi, David. Thanks for joining me today on Tuesday, Tuesday, the 14th of April. Thanks
it is indeed.
Yep. How's it going in ARLA Towers? What are you guys doing for the letting agency industry?
Well,
it's a bit like the Romans. What have the Romans ever done for us? What have ARLA ever done for us?
What have we? Actually, I have to say, I know a lot of people across the industry are saying how bored they are because they can't work because they're really struggling. I can't say the same for ARLA and for PropertyMark. This has probably been one of our busiest times because our job is to help the industry through challenging circumstances, be it the tenant fees ban last year where we created the tenant fees toolkit, to today's coronavirus pandemic. We have been working with the government to try and ensure that what the industry needs, the industry gets, particularly around legal changes, grants and funding, and clarification on what to do in the myriad of circumstances that agents are finding themselves at the moment. So we're actually working literally night and day.
What does that lobbying actually look like? Because I know I've had some cracking conversations with you off the record, and I don't want to give all your secrets away, but it's quite obvious that you guys have been talking to the government, you know, with regard to the rebate on fees, and also clarification on work. What does that look like? Is that picking the phone up or going around to Government House and talking to them?
Certainly not going round at the moment. The civil servants are working from home in exactly the same way that everybody else is. So it is very much telephone calls and emails, video conferencing like we all are doing day in, day out at the moment. But I'm in touch with the officials several times a day, every day, across multiple different departments.
Are they listening? Well, they seem to be.
They definitely are. In fact, they're probably being more receptive at the moment than they ever have been because this is so unprecedented. Nobody was planning for it. Nobody was expecting it. Therefore, they are very much having to think on their feet. They are listening to all sides. Our campaign has very much been in tune with government policy, which is keep the rent flowing. The government have made it very, very clear in literally first line of their guidance to landlords is guidance to landlords and tenants is tenants must continue to pay the rent. So we have been working very closely with the officials to make sure that that safety net that the government is putting there is catching everybody. So
how do you feel the likes of universities and other charitable organisations are suggesting that tenants don't pay rent?
That is completely unhelpful and flies in the face of government guidance. It flies in the face of common sense. So it is why we are saying, tenants, you do still need to pay your rent. Universities and students being the prime example, on the 20th of this month, they're going to get their final student loan payment. So what we're trying to get round is the can't pay, won't pay. And where people genuinely can't pay because they have fallen through that safety net, we are working with government to make sure we put that net in place for them. Prime example being the industry itself. When the original job retention scheme came out, it was 80% of your salary, which 80% of a basic salary for an agent is nowhere close to their normal earning. And once we realized this was a problem and the feedback from people like yourself and others across the industry said, oh, this is a big problem for agents, we were on to MHCLG, to Bays and to the Treasury within 24 hours. And it took about a week before us, along with, I know the motor industry as well, was working very heavily because car salesmen particularly we were in a similar boat, that they accepted that there was a class of people that were falling through the net. They changed the rules. So it's that sort of behind the scenes. We're not, obviously, lobbying, you cannot be outward with everything that you do because that kind of defeats the concept. Therefore, our failures are very public. Our successes at times have to be quite private because otherwise it doesn't work.
What do you think agents can do to help get the message out that the rent still needs to keep flowing?
I think it is being very clear with tenants that if you can't pay, there are lots of schemes in place to help you pay. And if you do fall through those schemes, you've got somebody to go and tell the government there is a hole fix it for this class of people. For those that won't pay, I think you've got to be slightly stricter. And it's why John Paul, who I know has been on your program, Chris, has been giving out advice through our webinars on how to deal with the won't pays. Not, students being one example, and some very unhelpful things coming out from the universities, which I'm not sure whether you agree with me on this one, Chris, but for a vice chancellor to sign a letter saying, landlords, please cut your rents, when they're still charging full tuition fees, I find exceptionally hypocritical.
Quite ironic, isn't it?
It really is.
What would you say to the staff at Arbon House that are, I know most of those are working from home. What message would you give to those guys and the regional reps as well?
So I have to say, our team, both of employed staff from Arbon House in Warwick and out for the boards and the reps, have been incredibly helpful. They have worked tirelessly. And particularly, I do have to say a massive thank you to our comms team. With the Prime Minister's briefings coming at 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening, that is the end of the working day, but we need to get that information out to our members. So they have been working literally from 7:30 in the morning when I'm on to our head of comm to 10, 11 o'clock at night.
And how are you feeling, David? Because I know we've spoken quite a number of times off the record, and trying to get hold of you is really hard work. How are you coping?
It's been busy. It's probably been the busiest I have had since the tenant fees was first announced. And I remember that 23rd of November 2016. It's one of the days burnt into my mind where I think I did, it was 15 or 16 radio and television interviews pretty much back to back that day. And the last couple of weeks have been like that. And I suppose working where we do and doing what we do, we prepare for major government announcements. We usually have 24 to 48 hours notice so that we can pull the press statement, the broadcast alert, the mailer, the article, the social media content, any resources that we need, a fact sheet, for example. We can pull it all together so that when that announcement happens, everything goes out at the same time, simultaneously, so that we've got a proper press launch. Now imagine that happening twice a day, 6 days a week. And that's what it's been like for the last couple of weeks.
Are you
coming to the end of it now? Yeah, because we've been having announcement after announcement after announcement. So think, for the members watching, how many messages they have had from me over the last 2 weeks, coming at what may appear really bizarre times of night. But we've had the announcement at 5 o'clock. We've had to seek clarity on what the announcement means. We've then had to draft all the necessary resources and then get them out later in the evening. Making sure that we're coordinating not just between me and my comms team, but our external PR agency and everybody else that is involved in PropertyMark media content.
Well, can I say on behalf of all the ARLA and obviously PropMark ANEA members, thank you for that. Just a couple of final things is that we're all due to go to the ARLA Conference, and now obviously it's into a hospital now. I'm sure you're going to be putting on your Florence Nightingale gown on and going around there. But it's just a shame that we're not going to celebrate the 25th anniversary. What are we going to be? I know we're moving later in the year. Is it still going to be a party, or is it just going to be reflection? Where do you think that's going to go?
So yes, as I'm sure I was, and I'm sure everybody else was really disappointed. It was the conference's 25th anniversary. It was supposed to be on the 24th of March. By the time we had to postpone it, we had overnight, about 850 delegates already booked, and we were still a month out. It was massively disappointing to have to postpone it. But it became obvious that this pandemic was gripping us in this country at that point in time. It was the right decision. However, galling it was for everybody who had already laid plans. I do know that the hotels around Excel were very, very accommodating for anybody that had booked, as were the train companies.
Okay. Just give me one final sentence to all the letting agents out there. What's your final comment to them?
My final comment is stay safe, stay healthy. Your businesses will keep going. There is a massive need. I think particularly in lettings, there's going to be a big surge when we come out the other end. But at this moment in time, stay at home, stay safe, keep that rent flowing, keep working with your tenants. We will come out the other end.
Thank you for your time today, David.
Thank you.